Represent the 9th Congressional District of Virginia in the U.S. House of Representatives on November 2nd, 2010. And he is currently serving his third term. Morgan is a member of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, which has jurisdiction over some of the most important issues facing Virginia's 9th District, including public health and federal regulations. For his second term in the U.S. House of Representatives, Morgan was named to the Energy and Commerce Committee's Subcommittee on Health. In addition, Morgan serves on the Subcommittee of Energy and Power and the Subcommittee of Oversight and Investigation. Prior to his election to the U.S. House of Representatives, Morgan served as a member of the Virginia House of Delegates from 1994 to 2011, where he represented the 8th District. In 2000, Morgan was elected House Majority Leader, the first Republican in Virginia history to hold this position. Morgan is a graduate of Salem's Andrew Lewis High School and an honored graduate of Emory and Henry College. After completing studies at Washington Lee University and School of Law, Morgan returned to Southwest Virginia, where he has practiced law for nearly 3 decades. Morgan is married to Hillary, and together they have 3 children.
All right, so can you all hear me? Do I need the mic? Everybody in the back can hear me? Yeah. All right, so there's the bio. Short and sweet. Now, what I like to do is I call these high school town halls. So this is your opportunity to ask me questions. If you don't ask questions, I will start asking questions of you or just start telling you stuff I'm interested in. It gets boring really quickly. So what I always tell them is if you invite me in, I'm happy to talk to the students, but if they ask the question, I'll do my best to answer it. So that being said, I'm your congressman. I have just, about 2 weeks ago, won my election for my 4th term, and I'm here to answer your questions. So who wants to be first? Yes, sir.
Have you ever met Barack Obama?
Yes, I have met Barack Obama on a couple of occasions, but nothing, no serious dialogue, but at some of the functions. The president, whomever he or she is, has an annual picnic at the White House, so I've met him there a couple of times. And then when I was first elected, I met him at the White House because they did a reception for all of the newly elected folks.
Have you shook his hand?
Okay, sorry?
Have you shook his hand?
Yes, sir. Yes, I have. That was the question. The question was, I should have repeated it, have I ever shaken Barack Obama's hand? That was the follow-up question. The answer to that was yes. All right, now here's what we're going to do. I'm going to start over here. This is the bigger side, but then I'll swing over here. So everybody over here, let your arms rest for a couple of minutes, and then I'll swing that way. I'll take 2 or 3 questions over here, and then I'll swing over that way. Yes, sir.
What was he like when you met him?
He was very congenial, very pleasant. Said hello, and we went on from there. We had one meeting early in my 1st term where he called us all in to talk about some policy, but we didn't agree with him, and so we didn't have any more meetings after that, other than the pleasantries. If you've asked a question, I'm going to move to other people until we get through everybody's questions, and I'll come back again. Yes, sir. Right here. The question is, did he laugh? I don't recall, but it was a very pleasant meeting. You know, the picnic, how can you not have fun, right? Other questions over here? Any policy questions? All right, I'm moving to this side. Do we have some questions over here? Somebody has a burning desire to know something about their government. Yes, ma'am.
Do you like Trump?
Do I like Trump? I have met Trump also, and I like him personally. We'll see what happens as far as policy. I did support him. I did vote for Donald Trump because I thought he was the better of the 2 choices. We have to get our economy started again. It's all about jobs and trying to make sure that our economy gets percolating. There's no reason why the United States shouldn't continue to be the #1 economic nation in the world, but we've got to change some of our policies. And Donald Trump said he would work towards policies that would do that, and I'm encouraged by that. And there's some exciting things going on as a result. Anybody over here have a burning question? Something. Now y'all got to help me out here, because if you don't ask questions, I'll talk about boring stuff. Yes, sir. Good question. Question is, what's the day in the life of a congressman like? Every day's a little bit different. When I'm in the district, I'm usually traveling somewhere. The 9th Congressional District of Virginia is a large district. It's larger than the state of New Jersey. There are 22 counties and 7 independent cities, obviously Covington being one of the independent cities. But 22 counties, the district stretches from Alleghany County on the West Virginia border down to Martinsville and Henry County on the North Carolina border. And then if you take a line, and the line's a little squiggly, I don't have any of Roanoke City. I have Craig County, the city of Salem, North Roanoke County, and Floyd, and then that gets you over to Floyd, Patrick, and Henry, and that's kind of the northern edge of the district. And then it goes all the way down to Bristol and a little place called Ewing. And the cool thing about Ewing in the corner of the district is that little piece in Virginia that looks like that on the maps. The really cool thing about that is that it's further west than Detroit, Michigan. So I live in Salem, so that's why I say when I'm at home, when I'm not in Washington, D.C., I spend a lot of time on the road because I'm always going somewhere. So I drove up here today. This is kind of a light day, as you might gather. The week of Thanksgiving is kind of light, and but we've already drafted, over the weekend we drafted a column. There's another column that we're drafting today. I do a weekly column. We did, today's column went out yesterday, and then on Wednesday, our Thanksgiving column will come out, so that my people don't have to work over the weekend. Now, when I'm in D.C., I generally get up about 5:45, and I go down to the gym. I'm what's known as, by some people, as an office dweller. I sleep in my office because we're in D.C. a handful of days a month. It's a lot of, each day is packed full, but you're not there that much, and prices of apartments are fairly expensive. So I get up and I go down to the gym, I work out. I'm a swimmer, so I'm swimming, and then I get back to the office after about an hour's worth of workout and get to work. And then I work. Every day is a little bit different again, but you have meetings with constituents, you have meetings with your committee, and as you heard, I serve on the Energy and Commerce Committee. Some people might want to ask some of the bills there. And then there's all kinds of meetings and strategy sessions, and then you have meetings in the evening, and I usually finish up. Sometimes I finish up as early as 8 or 9. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's later. We've been as late as 2 o'clock in the morning taking votes in Congress on what we call the floor of the House. And then sometimes it's fun. Last week, the Library of Congress presented William Smokey Robinson with an award, and all these singers came in to do Smokey Robinson music, and then Smokey Robinson took the stage. All right, that was fun. So sometimes there's a perk involved. So every day's a little bit different, but I enjoyed watching that, and it was filmed and will be live on, or be filmed. The live version we saw, the filmed version will be on television in February on PBS. But it's the Library of Congress presenting the Gershwin Music of Popular Song, or Award of Popular Song to Smokey Robinson. And y'all have to go look him up. He's an old-time singer, but he wrote lots of songs for Motown. He was one of the founders of Motown. If you've ever heard of Motown, the Motown sound, Smokey Robinson was one of those guys. Okay? Other questions over here? Swinging back this way, yes?
2 questions. 1, do you have a wife?
I do.
And number 2, how does she feel about your work schedule?
Question is, do I have a wife, and how does she feel about the work schedule? Yes, I have a wife, and we have 3 kids. How does she feel about the work schedule? It creates some stress sometimes because I'm gone so much. I try to take the kids with me. I was in Martinsville for a Christmas parade on Saturday. I took the kids with me because it's sometimes hard on her when she has everything on her plate that she has to do. My wife, by the way, is a juvenile and domestic relations district court judge, so she, in her own right, has a pretty busy schedule. But she stays in Salem and she works in the Salem Roanoke County Courthouse. But yeah, sometimes there's stress in the schedule, and I got to take care of my family too. So I have that on top of everything else.
So she like comes home and talks about court cases, and you come home and talk about the paperwork?
The follow-up is she comes home and talks about court cases, and I come home and talk about paperwork and political things. And that's pretty much correct. Yes, we were both attorneys by training, and that's actually how we met. And she was a prosecutor, and I was a defense attorney. And the first time we ever met in a case, she thought I was an idiot, and I thought she was way over aggressive prosecuting my client. And a couple years later, we met at a party, and the rest is history. Yes, ma'am. All right.
Bring economic development to the area.
The question, turn back around. I always tell my kids, don't look that way when you're talking to me over here. The question is, what am I doing to bring economic development into the area? And the answer would have to be, it's fairly simple stuff. One, I'm available to the economic developers to make calls, to do whatever they want me to do locally. But on a national level, what we have to do is we have to create an environment where people want to bring jobs or create jobs in the United States. It's been a little bit tough because I believe that we've been overregulated in several areas, and what's going to happen over the next few years, we'll have to wait and see. But based on the promises that Trump made during his campaign, I think we're going to be in a position where we can modify some regulations and then encourage with new tax policies, encourage people to reinvest their money in the United States of America. Companies that are international companies but are headquartered in the United States have been taking more and more jobs overseas or creating more jobs overseas than they have been in the United States. We encourage them to, and the catchphrase is repatriate, so you may want to look up repatriation of foreign or of domestic companies' money. They can bring that money back. Right now, if they bring it back, they get taxed very high. We let them bring it back in at a lower tax rate. They're much more likely to bring that money back and invest in the United States. So we have to figure out how we do that and how we create policies that make it so that companies want to create jobs in the United States. There's good reason to be here. We have the most efficient and effective workforce in the world. All the data shows that our folks work harder than any other country in the world. But we also have higher wages, so we have to offset that. We can't have both high wages and high taxes and expect folks to bring jobs here. We want to keep the high wages. We need to bring taxes down a little bit. We need to make sure that regulations don't put businesses out of business in the United States.